The wind howled through the abandoned town like a mournful cry, each gust seeming to carry secrets from a past long forgotten. It was here in this desolate place that the story of our protagonist, Alex, took a turn from ordinary to terrifying. Alex, an 18-year-old with a thirst for adventure, always eager to explore the unknown, found himself captivated by the town's eerie silence. But as the sun began its descent, casting long, eerie shadows, the quietude was shattered by whispers that seemed to emanate from the very walls of the town. With each step he took, more stories of the town's grim past unfolded, hinting at a tragedy so profound it sent shivers down his spine. As night fell, the whispers grew louder, intertwining with the sound of the wind to form a chorus of voices that echoed his name. Determined to uncover the truth behind the spectral serenade, Alex ventured deeper into the town's shadowy embrace, his curiosity battling with a mounting dread in his heart. What he discovered there would forever change him, blurring the line between the living and the dead. As the ghostly whispers intensified, Alex felt a growing sense of unease. The darkness around him seemed to have a life of its own, pressing in from all sides. Was he truly alone, or was he being watched by unseen eyes? The question hung heavy in the air, unanswered, as the shadows danced at the edge of his vision. Driven by a mixture of fear and determination, Alex pressed on, the whispers now a constant companion, urging him forward into the unknown. With every step, the boundary between the real and the spectral seemed to blur, pulling him deeper into a nightmare from which there might be no awakening. And then he saw an old, weathered diary lying open on a dilapidated table. Its pages filled with a haunting script told the story of the town and its people, revealing a dark secret that had been buried for years. As Alex delved further into the diary's cryptic entries, he uncovered a tale of love, loss, and despair. He learned of a community plagued by fear, driven to the edge by an unseen terror that had seeped into their lives like a creeping fog. But the most disturbing entry told of a ritual, a desperate attempt to banish the darkness that had consumed the town. According to the diary, the townspeople had made a pact with an ancient entity, offering their souls in exchange for protection from the evil that haunted them. This chilling revelation sent a wave of horror through Alex. He realized that the whispers he had been hearing were not those of the dead, but of the damned, trapped in a perpetual cycle of torment. And as the realization dawned on him, the whispers grew louder, coalescing into a single, menacing voice that seemed to slither into his mind, whispering promises of power and knowledge in exchange for his eternal servitude. Just when he thought he could endure no more, the whispers abruptly ceased, leaving him in an eerie silence that was somehow even more terrifying than the cacophony that had preceded it. He was standing in the town square, the epicenter of the spectral activity, and in the center of the square was an old, gnarled tree, its branches twisted and reaching like the arms of a skeleton. As Alex stared at the tree, he felt a sudden surge of energy, a jolt that seemed to run through his entire body. And then he saw them, the townspeople from days gone by, their faces pale and drawn, their eyes vacant and soulless. They were moving closer, drawn towards him like moths to a flame, their whispers growing louder. Panic surged through Alex, his heart pounding against his ribs like a trapped bird. He tried to run, to escape the growing throng, but his feet seemed rooted to the spot. He was paralyzed by an unseen force, unable to move, unable to scream. As the townspeople closed in on him, their whispers reaching a fever pitch, he could feel their icy fingers on his skin, their ghostly presence seeping into his very being. And then he heard a voice that seemed to come from within the tree itself. It was a voice of unimaginable power, a voice that commanded obedience and promised forbidden knowledge. It beckoned to Alex, promising him answers, tempting him with the secrets of the universe. As the townspeople pressed closer, their whispers weaving a tapestry of fear and despair, Alex felt himself being pulled towards the tree. The voice grew louder, more insistent, and with a final surge of strength, it pulled him toward its dark embrace. And in that moment, as the darkness enveloped him, Alex knew that he had crossed the point of no return. The next few moments were a blur to Alex. He remembered the searing pain in his chest, the feeling of his heart being ripped from his body, and the bone-chilling cold that had engulfed him. Then everything went black. When Alex regained consciousness, he found himself lying on the ground. The cold, hard earth beneath him, the sky above him, a swirl of grey clouds. The whispers were gone, replaced by an oppressive silence that seemed to amplify the pounding of his heart. He struggled to sit up, his head pounding, his throat dry and rasping. As he looked around, he realized that he was alone. The town and its ghostly inhabitants had vanished, leaving him in the desolate silence of the abandoned town. Trembling, Alex staggered to his feet and stumbled out of the town, his eyes searching the horizon for help. But all he saw was the endless expanse of the desolate landscape, a mirror to the emptiness he felt inside. As he walked, he noticed small changes in the world around him, subtle shifts in the behavior of animals and the elements that hinted at a deeper change, something that transcended the physical realm. He felt as though he were being watched, as if the very fabric of reality had shifted, warping the familiar into the strange and unsettling. At first, these changes were subtle, a fleeting glimpse of a spectral figure at the edge of his vision or the sound of disembodied footsteps following him from a distance. But as time went on, they became more frequent and more vivid, blurring the line between the real and the unreal. Struggling to maintain his grip on reality, Alex sought solace in the familiar, finding comfort in the routine of daily tasks. But even in these mundane activities, he sensed a lurking darkness, a malevolent presence that sought to engulf him. Sleep offered no respite, for his dreams were filled with the whispering voices that taunted him, their words echoing the darkest recesses of his mind. In these moments of solitude, Alex grappled with the fragments of his past, trying to piece together the shattered remnants of his former life. He questioned those close to him, seeking reassurance, only to be met with puzzled looks and concerned frowns. Their words, though well-intended, sounded distant and unfamiliar, as if he were having a conversation in a foreign language. Was he losing his mind? Was he truly alone in this battle against the encroaching darkness? Or were his loved ones trapped in the shadows, unable to reach him? The isolation pressed in on him, suffocating, and he cried out for help, for someone, anyone to understand the torment that gnawed at his soul. But his pleas went unheard, lost in the labyrinth of his own mind. Haunted by the whispers and tormented by his isolation, Alex found himself slipping into a deep despair. The darkness that had once been at bay now threatened to consume him entirely. Each day he fought to hold on to his sanity, to keep the whispers at bay, but the struggle was draining him, body and soul. And then, in the depth of his despair, he heard a voice that cut through the whispers like a beacon in the darkness. It was a voice of understanding, of compassion, and it offered him a way out of the suffocating darkness. With renewed determination, Alex reached out to those who believed in him, his family, his friends, and together they formed a circle of support. Their love and concern became his anchor, grounding him in the midst of the swirling chaos. Through their unwavering belief in him, Alex found the strength to keep fighting, to hold on to the fading fragments of his former self. The road to recovery was long and arduous, but with each passing day, the whispers grew fainter. Slowly but surely, Alex began to reclaim his life, to rebuild the shattered pieces of his existence. He poured his heart and soul into his passions, immersing himself in the beauty of music and the warmth of human connection. With each step forward, he felt the darkness receding, the whispers fading into the distant shadows. However, even as the light of healing touched his life, there were moments when the darkness threatened to engulf him once more. The scars of his experience ran deep, and the battle between light and darkness continued to rage within him. He fought with every fiber of his being, drawing strength from the love that surrounded him and the beauty that he found in the world. In the end, it was his spirit, his indomitable will to live, to love, and to hope that triumphed over the darkness. As the years passed, Alex's life bore witness to the healing power of time and the unwavering strength of the human spirit. He found love again, a love that was born in the crucible of his pain and tempered by his journey through the shadows. His music, too, took on a new depth, a richness, born of his struggle to overcome the darkness. Yet, even in his moments of joy and triumph, there were times when Alex felt the echoes of the past, when the whispers threatened to rise again. These moments, though painful, served as reminders of how far he had come, of the darkness he had conquered, and the light he now embraced. For, in acknowledging the darkness, he had learned the true value of light, the preciousness of life, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. In the end, Alex's story became a testament to the resilience of the soul, a beacon of hope for those who dared to face their inner demons and emerge stronger on the other side. Or did it? The darkness may lie dormant, waiting for its chance to re-emerge, reminding us that the battle between light and dark is an eternal one, waged not just in the external world, but in the shadows of our own hearts.